Monday, January 10th. Planning Commission meeting to order. Roll call, I'm here. Johnson.
Here.
Emma, absent. Christensen.
Here.
Montgomery.
Here.
Approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Election of commission chair. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Mr. Gesme.
I second.
Any other nominations? Any further discussion? Do I abstain?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to oppose. Aye.
Aye.
It was a 3-1.
3-1.
It's 3-1.
Yep.
Okay, approval of the minutes from last meeting. Everybody should have a copy of that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is a second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Public input. Public input is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns of the planning commission. Public input will be no longer than 30 minutes in length, and each speaker will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Speakers may address topics relevant to the governance of the city. Speakers must sign up in advance and must provide their name, address, and topic they intend to address. Comments must be on topic, respectful, pertinent to city business, and adhere to the applicable data privacy rules. Any speaker that violates these rules will be asked to sit down, and if the speaker refuses to comply, they may be removed from the meeting. Speakers shall not address topics that are the subject of a public hearing. All such comments shall be made at the public hearing. The Planning Commission will not generally act on issues raised by the public input, but might choose to schedule consideration of the item on a future agenda. We have one here. Don Lanning.
Don, would you prefer to speak at the public input or for the public hearing? I see your,
Public hearing,
okay, so for not, okay.
yeah, thank you.
All right. So that's all that there's listed for public input, so we'll move on to the public hearing. The first public hearing is a rezone and lot split for PID 525-3010. It's currently zoned urban reserve, and I'm going to turn it over to Diane.
This parcel is being proposed to be rezoned from a UR urban reserve to a B2 highway business district. The lot split will be contingent on final sale. A lot split is also being proposed for this parcel at the point that is intersected by 63rd Avenue, with a portion on the lot east of 63rd Avenue and the portion of the lot west of 63rd Avenue becoming two separate parcels.
Okay, so I'm going to open the public meeting. Is there any comments to this rezone and lot split?
We do have a map here too if anyone wants to view it. Okay.
Okay, my name's Dawn Lanning, and I own the parcel directly adjacent to the south of the property that is in question. I don't know, can you put up that map or not? Or do I, because I have some things I wanted to show on the map.
You want to put it right in there?
Oh, there you go. Okay, like,
Is that on or is that not on?
I don't know how that works.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Okay, so let's do it this way
Here
then.
we go.
Okay, so, and actually there's, oh yeah, so, you know, I totally understand the whole idea of splitting this lot. It makes sense to do that. That I have no issues with. The one thing I would like to suggest or what makes sense to me anyway, is to take that lot, so this particular lot, zone that as B2. It makes sense to have that as B2. It's in between businesses that are already there. Avalon's there. The parcel right here is zoned commercial already, so that all makes sense. No problem. This lot here is zoned residential. This lot's zoned residential. This lot is zoned residential. This lot is my lot, and that also is zoned rural residential. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to put a business parcel right in the middle of all of these residential lots. They're all zoned residential currently. This lot here is part of Cannon Falls Township. I'm part of Cannon Falls Township, and this is part of Cannon Falls Township. This one is still Cannon Falls, City of Cannon Falls. But it is taxed as residential, non-homesteaded. This parcel happens to still be taxed as residential, non-homestead, as is this one. I'm actually rural residential and ag. And then this property here, he just bought that property, well, 2 years ago in December. I bought my property 5 years ago in December. My property is full of, it's 20 acres, it's full of pines. You know, when I bought that property, I bought it because it was full of pines and not to have a business right next to my property. It will make my property hard to sell if I ever do want to go and sell it, because again, why does somebody want to pay for 20 acres of pine and pastures to be next to a business lot? Okay? You can spend the money and go find it somewhere else. So I think if you were to rezone this particular lot to be a B2, you're going to have negative effects on the property values and the resale, like the ability to resell the property as residentials, because both of these properties here are residences. This guy has put a lot of work into that property. He put up new fencing. He's done really good work at, you know, kind of recovering his driveway and keeping the erosion down. I've put a new roof on my house. I've put brand new windows in my house in the last 5 years, and I really don't want to see my property values going down because you're going to change this to a B2. Like I said, understandable on this side. I knew what I bought when I bought it. You know, Avalon was here. I just knew that that was going to be eventually probably businesses, but not right next to me. That one I have an issue with. I don't know if you got any questions.
I have one is, so you think we should, tell the property owner that he can't use it for what he has applied for? Should we
He's
tell-
asking for a land split, which, by the way, wasn't on the application. The application just asked for rezoning of the property as a whole.
Yep.
Okay, I understand that he wanted to rezone it so that he could sell this part, you know, to be a truck terminal or whatever it is that he's going to do with it. I understand that.
Okay.
But
so-
if you do the split, there's no reason that he could not sell or use this property as it's already zoned, urban reserve. Keep this a urban reserve or make it a residential zoning.
So then again, you want to request the landowner to be restricted by what he wants to do because of,
I don't want my property values going down because he wants to change his use.
okay, so,
He bought the property knowing what the zoning was. He bought it knowing what that zoning was. I bought my property knowing what my zoning was. I bought my property knowing what was around there. At that time, urban reserve. Okay? And like I said, I knew Avalon was there. I kind of half expected that something would probably end up across the road, but not next to me. Next to me, I assumed with a bunch of pines and a hill. And this one is like, I think it's 16.9 acres of pasture, Mine is 20 acres of pasture. I've got animals on my property. The first guy up there in the corner, he has animals on his property. He put in some really nice fencing. Like I said, he's done a lot of work on there. And it just doesn't make sense to put a business district right between all of those residences. That's all I'm saying.
Diane or Bill, I know Neil's not here, maybe you guys can speak to this.
I will say that urban reserve is kind of a holding zone. That's what the city has put on certain parcels where they know that the use is probably going to change, but they don't know what it will change to in the future because of the locations. Also, I can't speak to what kind of use this owner will want to have on this particular parcel because he isn't here. But I have heard that it's possible that it may not be a business use. But that's up to him in the future. I can't speak to that because he isn't here.
So that's what I'm saying, though, is if he submitted an application to make a parcel into a B2 district, you can give him his application, make the new parcel that you're going to make a B2 district, and then leave the other parcel that's going to be created, rezone that to be whatever it happens to be. So he will get his rezone that he's asking for on a parcel that he's trying to sell.
Right now, the issue that we have with this, Don, is that the PID numbers are the same. It's not split yet. It won't be split officially until it's recorded with the county, Goodhue County. So right now, it kind of comes as one parcel, and he is asking for that parcel to be switched to a B2. I don't know that that one on the west side will stay a B2, but like I said, I can't guarantee you that because I'm not the homeowner.
So what would that process be? I mean, if you create, after the property sale goes through, you create two parcels.
It's easy.
What is the zoning process when you create a new parcel?
If he wants to change that one from a B2 to something else, he could again apply for a rezone and pay the $450 and meet with the commission again.
Can adjacent property owners do the same thing?
Not with his property. It has to be done by the property owner.
Can, the businesses that are potentially buying this really only have development plans on the east side?
Correct.
So there's no plan right now to develop the west side?
Correct. Yep.
I mean, is it possible for him to split the lots?
He could even combine those lots, Diane. That's a possibility. You know, if he wanted to combine it with the upper lot and make it, you know, a little bigger lot and make it a residential or business, he has the right to do that too, or he has the right to apply for that.
Another item of interest when I was looking, I did not know that this parcel was split off from here. This parcel here is landlocked. There is no road access on this parcel. So I don't know if you need to do anything as far as making a requirement that
Can't be.
It's the same owner.
It's the same,
it is the same owner, but
Owner. Yeah.
if you're creating a new parcel, I mean,
He still owns that parcel.
so they don't have to have they don't have to have,
That's why he's splitting it, so the people on the east side don't get ownership of it. He's keeping the parcel on the west side.
Here's a real dumb question. Is it the county, the township, or the city that will determine, I know the county does the parcel numbers,
Right.
but it's the city of Cannon Falls that would determine the usage, the zoning?
Well, the owner could apply for a particular zone, Diane, and then it would come to you, and then it would go to council to be
Okay,
determined.
but it's,
Yeah.
that takes it out of the township and the county then? The county is only responsible for the lot split,
The,
signing the new parcel numbers.
Right, right.
And it's the city of Cannon Falls then that determines the zoning.
Yep. So when you guys approve a process, what happens is I send it to Don Mitchell at the county, and then he does the paperwork, be it assigning a new PID and recording the document. Does that make sense?
So it's
Yeah,
not,
and I did, but I keep thinking, so he doesn't want it rezoned unless the sale goes through? Or does he want it rezoned right now so the sale could go through?
No, the rezone is contingent on the final sale. So if the final sale falls through, it would stay as you are. This whole thing would stay as a UR.
And he wouldn't pursue this
He would
splitting
still
of the lots?
split. He would still split. The split is not contingent on the final sale, but the rezone is.
possible to rezone half and not this half, or no?
It would be if the parcel numbers were different.
But because the parcel number are the same, they cannot be zoned differently.
Not until the split is final, and the split wouldn't be final until it went to the county, right?
Selling on the
East side,
on east side, but he's
Yep.
not selling on the west side.
right, right.
So he has to split it ahead of time, ahead of the sale anyway, right? To do the title and
Right.
all of the title work and everything for the sale,
Right.
correct?
Right, yeah.
So, you know, at the time that the split happens, is that, I mean, could you put something in the terms?
That would be up to the owner, not,
Okay.
that's not for us to determine.
But we could say, being he has to split the parcel first before the sale, correct? Yeah, I mean, obviously,
He could split the parcel without the sale.
right.
I
But
mean, that's up to
But before
him.
the sale can be completed, he has to have the parcel split.
I believe that's the terms, but I have not seen the terms of the agreement between him and the buyer.
Right, so at
Yeah.
that particular moment, once we now have two parcel numbers, we could say it goes to B2 on the east side and stays urban reserve or whatever it is now on the west side. Because that actually has to happen before the sale anyway.
Yeah, well,
I know it's kind of a
the
little-
sale is contingent on this property being zoned to B2. If it's not zoned to B2, I believe that they won't have a sale, and this will be a
Right, but the minute he splits the parcel numbers, we can zone it to be, or recommend the city council zone it to B2. I mean, he's got to split those anyway, or else
Yeah.
he's going to be landlocked on his big area.
He owns all those properties on the west side.
There is no road going up there.
No, I know, but he owns all those properties.
If he were to ever sell this property, this piece here, the way it is now,
Yeah.
and the way he's proposing that be divided, there is no road going back here.
Right.
He
but
would have
a
to deal-
rezone is not a sale. What she's saying is he
Yeah,
still
yeah.
owns
Right,
that, so he
right,
still has access
right.
to it. So that's not an issue yet.
And that would be an issue for another day. That would be
Right.
his issue that he would have to fix at some point, but that's not our issue right now, Don.
So am I reading the tea leaves right here that this is, the sale is dependent on this? So if we said we're
It
going to
is.
table it and we're going to ask the owner to split the parcel numbers first, would that kill the sale, or would the buyer then say, well, we can table this for a few more months and start the process all over again?
From what I've heard, it very well could, yeah.
Okay. But what Don is asking for could still possibly happen. It would just be in a different order. It would be a separate parcel number, and like you said, as long as he's owning those sides, but then that would be the landowner's discretion.
If we just voted for the split and not for the rezone, and he lost the sale, we just wouldn't rezone it, and the property would stay as it is, and we wouldn't gain
What if-
business.
What about, his application was for a rezone of the parcel?
He asked for that later on. He had a formal meeting with the city administrator and I,
Okay, but the application just said for a rezone.
but the memo reflected the change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you gave him, if you granted the rezone, okay? Then he makes the sale, and there's a land split that happens as part of the sale,
Right.
then can you revisit zoning the new parcel? Does the zoning have to be the same for the new parcel?
That would be up
When they
to,
split
that would
it?
be up to the homeowner. I mean, as a city, we don't go in and we don't tell people that they have to change a zone.
What I'm saying though is if I came in and said I wanted to split my property in half, right?
Yep.
And I split my property in half, and what you're saying is that automatically, if I do a land split, both parcels now are zoned the same. Is that what you're saying right now? Is that like the
Zoning don't
standard?
change unless it's applied for.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
even if a new parcel's being created?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, well, okay. I mean, to me, it just makes sense for that parcel on that side of the road to not be a business, because it's surrounded by residential properties, but, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah.
Does it cost people money to ask the city to rezone?
It does, $450.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak as far as the public hearing goes? Second call, anybody else wanting to speak to this rezoning and lot split? Third and final time, anyone who would like to respond? Well, I close the public hearing. Committee?
I'm okay with splitting of the property, but I'm agreeing with Dawn about leaving that separate, but I can't make that decision from what's sitting in front of me. I think that's fine to have that business over there, but then this becomes business, and at any given time, a business can be put in there, which could possibly devalue her property. But I'm okay with splitting it, and this is business on this side, and this remains residential. I was out there driving around, and that was one of my thoughts is what's going to happen to this property over here, or does it all become business at some point in
Which
time?
property?
Over in here.
Well, this is township.
Dawn's,
That's all
and,
beautiful.
yep, what, but if we just zone this the same.
Should we be saving this for the discussion and having the other public hearing first?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the next public hearing. Conditional use permit for 410 Hickory Drive. And it's to add a drive-through addition to Subway restaurant. Diane?
This would basically be an added value for their customers. We do have drawings enclosed, and we have Tom and Tom here to discuss the project with us. And if anyone has any further questions after that, we also have Bill Angerman here who would give us technical support.
Should I open the public hearing or after?
Yep.
Okay, I open the public hearing for the conditional use permit application for 410 Hickory Drive.
Well, I'm Tom Siebenaller. I'm from Hastings, 801 East 2nd Street. And I just want to say we would like to add on to this building and have a drive-through down there. We're a freeway store, and I think it would be an added feature for the town also. It's a kind of a slick process with Subways. It's just kind of a punch pad, and it's really, really easy. They don't have to talk into it or anything like that. So I just wanted to bring it up and see what you guys think, and that's about it. So we're going to add on to the back end of the store by, I think it's like a 12 by 12, and they'll come in on the west, would be the east side, and around to the back side and pick up and then go out. So we'll have signage out and direct traffic and that kind of stuff too. So that's what I got.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
Will the inside be being redesigned too, or just that
Yes,
little addition on?
it will be fully remodeled at that
Okay.
time also.
So that door that faces the west for pedestrians to come in, will that be leaving?
No, I
Okay.
believe that's why we didn't put it over there. It was because of the too many seats, I believe. that we have to have 2 exits
Okay.
in the lobby.
And then, so there will still be seating inside as well as a convenient
Correct.
drive-through.
It'd be the
Okay.
same amount of seating as we got now. Lobby would be the same.
And a little bit Steve had addressed with me early on, but I was curious about the parking in the back of the building back there.
Yep.
Is there any provisions or anything for pedestrians that park in the very back that walk in front of the cars through the drive-through to get into the building? Is there going to be a designated walkway?
We'll probably put in we're gonna have to restripe everything.
Okay,
So we'll probably have a pedestrian type crossway there so that they can get through and, not a lot of people park back there.
yeah.
But, a lot of the employees and stuff will be back there.
Okay.
So,
Is this going to affect or change Best Buy Liquor in any way with the remodel?
no,
Their part of the building will stay the same?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. We're probably gonna repaint the backside and get it all cleaned up back there. Maybe put some gates around the garbage, that kind of stuff, the garbage containers, and just clean that back end up of this building. And so it'd be a nice little addition back there.
And I see the actual owner signed the application, so
Yep.
he's on board 100%.
Yes. Yep. Pete's on board and he's more than happy. So adding on and helping his business out,
Sure.
It'll bring some traffic in for him also.
Yeah.
A lot of freeway people don't want to stop very long, so it'd be nice for them to come through and.
Yeah.
And then with the punch pad, they can just throw in their phone number and it brings up their orders. They just hit it and we just make it and they're on the road again. So it's a pretty slick deal. But any other questions? No?
Good. Thanks, Tom.
All right, you bet. Thanks.
Anybody else want to speak to on the public hearing for the subway drive-through?
Sure.
Other than Don?
I think it would be a great ad. I'm a big Subway fan, and I think it would be a great ad.
I wonder if we can just get a drive-through for the liquor store. Anybody else wishing to speak to the public hearing? Third and last call for the subway drive-through. I will close the public hearing.
Say, Chairman Gesme, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Finally. Whew.
Yes, Neil?
Say, I got some input on the last public hearing, but I wasn't able to get in. So when you get in into your conversation, I'd like to speak a little bit.
It starts right now.
Okay. I think one of the things that people are concerned about is the having a B2 on across the west side of the highway there. You guys can make a motion to say, you know what? I think it's perfectly legitimate to have a business on the east side of that road, but we're going to keep it a UR and make a recommendation to City Council for the west side of the road. So, and I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think the property owner would mind that at all, because I think he's probably trying to figure out what he wants to do with it anyhow. So I think if you wanted to make a motion saying, yep, we're going to rezone this to a B business district and do the lot split on the east side, but we're going to leave it UR on the west side, I think you would be fine with that.
But you can't rezone it.
With the new PID number, we can bring that up with Don Mitchell.
Yeah, we can delay it long enough to get that done.
Okay.
We'll
So I
talk
don't
nice
think
to the
there's gonna
county.
be
Okay, so how do we word that motion?
Split the parcel, and with the east side being B2 and the west side becoming UR after the split. Remaining UR after the split,
When we get to that.
when we get to that.
We're at it right now?
Got it right now.
Does that make sense, Steve?
Yep.
Okay.
we're on item A, so we're at the rezone. We can have discussion and then make a
So
motion.
tonight, we can say B2 rezone, split, leaving the west side. We'll call that
You are.
Dawn's edition. No. You
I don't have
are,
that kind of money.
you are, even though we,
Would probably work with us up there.
I mean, because we approved it
Yep, yep.
last meeting.
Let's do that, and I have time before the next council meeting just to give them a heads up what I'm doing. I'll do that.
Motion, John.
I didn't think we did that till, because we were just into the subway thing.
No.
We closed that public
We're
hearing,
on
so now
discussion
we're,
A.
Oh, we're coming back again.
Yep.
yep.
Okay. Yeah, I make a motion to say exactly what Neil said and what Diane verbalized there.
I'll make a second.
Motion and second to do what John said. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. B, conditional use permit for 410 Hickory Drive. Any comments on that? I myself think it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And it's always good to see somebody that wants to make an improvement and attract more business or be optimistic in that direction anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Can the chair make motions, or does he have to, he's still a voting member, but he doesn't make motions or
John,
seconds?
do you know parliamentary procedure?
But I want to make the motion.
You go for it then.
Yeah, I want to move that
Adopt
we approve
Resolution 2022.
conditional
Okay.
use permit for 410 Hickory Drive, despite the fact that they didn't bring us cookies.
I'll make a second.
Motion second to approve the Subway drive-through. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. C, it's a resolution for an administrative permit for 301 Fifth Street South. I talked to Diane about this, and it's pretty much a paperwork shuffle. It's really not anything more than that, if you want to elaborate a little bit.
Okay. What is in question is ownership of units 5 and 6, which are basically a garage and a carport. The ownership right now is on apartment 4, and they are asking that it be changed to apartment 1. Mr. Iverson, do you want to? Or condo, sorry. Yeah.
The 5 and 6 are on unit number 3, and I want to move it to unit number 1 because I'm selling unit number 3 without the garage.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay?
So it'll become part of unit number 1, even,
It'll
right?
become part of unit number 1.
Correct, yeah.
And that's the unit I'm living in right now.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 202203, the permit for 301 Fifth Street.
I'll second that.
Motion second to approve the administrative permit for 301 Fifth Street, Resolution 2022-03. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. D, Resolution 2022-04, final plan approval for Keller Bartman Apartment Complex at 415 Hickory Drive.
So zoning and engineered reviewed the Keller Bartman final plan. That included the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, SWPPP. The zoning response letter dated January 5th, 2022. G Cubed Cannonball Apartment Complex Site Plan Resubmittal per December 8th, 2021. Review comments for Bill Angerman dated January 3rd, 2022. It also includes Bill Angerman's email response dated January 6, 2022, and January 6, 2022 G-Cube plan revisions per review of Cannonball Apartments dated January 5th, which was the zoning letter, and via the email dated January 6, 2022, which came from Mr. Angerman. Enclosed also is the updated Cannonball Apartment Complex site plan, the updated Cannonball Apartment Complex grading plan, and the Cannonball Apartment landscape plan. Okay. We are still waiting for the access agreement with McDonald's. That's the only piece that we are still missing.
The what? No, what'd you say?
The access agreement with McDonald's.
Does that access agreement include who is responsible for maintaining that piece of the road that you have to go from County 24 to get to McDonald's?
It may, but from the city's perspective, that would not be a requirement. That would be up for the two property owners to work that out. So we just, from the city perspective, we just care that McDonald's has a legal way to enter their property through this property.
And that's not in question, correct?
I'm sorry, Steve.
Their access to the property, that's not in question.
No, so they just have to provide that. So the recommendation would be to approve it contingent upon the submittal of that.
So you're talking about Hickory, right? The road between,
Yes, yep, correct.
well, the county gave us that road.
Right, so Hickory Drive is a city street, but it's actually coming across this property, so to get to the McDonald's property. Yep.
Or are they going to access McDonald from Hickory Drive or from County 24?
Well, probably both. Would be, the McDonald's customers are going to drive either way, so.
Are we allowed to make little kind of dinky suggestions? Just on the plan for the tree and the lilacs, it seems to me with the amount of disease we now get with trees and things that maybe they could use a couple more varieties.
I'll comment on it.
Okay.
So typically, we would review this, do they meet the ordinance? Though the owners very well may take that under advisement and decide to do something different. But from a staff perspective, we would just see if it met the ordinance.
Was this open to any public discussion?
Nope.
Okay,
This is just us.
just us.
So Bill, we've got the email that you had sent and all those issues you think have been, there's a solution and we've reached a good point.
Yep, so we've worked through all the items with their engineering team, correct, and they've all been resolved,
Wonderful.
except for the McDonald's one that we mentioned. Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Well, I appreciate the time that people have put into this project, but I still can't help but think that somehow we may have sidestepped some things. We may have not followed this to the letter of the law. And I still honestly think it's in a bad spot. That's what I really believe, that I just feel this is that this building is being put in the wrong spot personally. But I get we've gone this far and it's probably going to go through, but I just want to get my thoughts out there on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plan approval for Keller Bartman Apartment Complex 2022-04.
I'll second. It's been moved and second to approve the final plat approval for Keller Bartman. Discussion. What I will say, probably directly to John, is when Casey's applied to expand their station up there, everybody thought that was nuts, that was never going to work, and this and that, and I think it ended up to be a pretty darn good fit up there. And I think, sticking my neck out here, and although I agree, probably is better places, but I think we got to move forward, and I think we should get this thing going in the works. And a few years down the road, I think everybody's going to think it looks okay, it fits. That's my personal opinion, and I guess I'm gonna. I just want to see the residential growth in the city, and if we got to, receive some flack for it, but yet welcome potential of 80 new families into town, plus all the construction work, and they're all going to help pay for that subway drive-through. I think it'll work, and that's how I'm going to lean. So, is there any further discussion?
I couldn't agree with Steve more. I think that this whole project has brought up the old cliche that don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I think that the cannonball sat there for long enough, and I think any business owner that complains about this, they had more than enough time to step up and do something with that land, and they didn't. And we have a developer that came to town. They've had proven success in Red Wing. There is a lot of positive energy going on right now in Zumbrota, and I don't think that this should be any different. So I hope that, as Steve said, in the community, 5-10 years from now, we look back and say, it's changed that part of the neighborhood and it's brought more people to town. So I understand it's not ideal. Very few things are, but it's a step in the right direction. I think it's a great project.
Anybody else? Roll call. Here's my list.
I do.
Yesme, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Christensen.
No.
Montgomery.
Aye.
3. Motion passed with 3-1. Discussion of fence code permit violation. Everybody go through that in your packet.
In your packet, you have examples of a non-compliance issue. Basically, what we want to know is how do we handle an issue like this moving into the future? We're looking for response measures. We are looking for guidance from the Planning Commission.
If I interpreted this correctly, we have a resident who was served 3 times with a notice that they did not apply for an application, so they put the fence up without doing it legally by city standards.
Correct.
And now they've been given a fee, and it says that we either do double the amount of the fee or $200, whichever is greater. That's the step that we're at?
You are correct, Matt. There is an attachment in our actual permit fee schedule that does actually address that. It does say, to be exact, an investigation fee shall be collected that is double the permit fee of $200, or the permit fee, whichever is greater.
Do we allow this resident a grace period to try to correct their fencing? Or is it, we're too far past that with them being served 3 times?
I tried to rationalize with this resident, and they told me to lawyer up because they're not going to fix it.
Okay. I have a feeling that this $200, if they said to us to lawyer up, that they're not taking this seriously. What's this will be our step, but what's the process after that?
There's examples in the packet as far as how we would notify these people. I would assume that we would probably get a hold of Sarah Swartzoff and have her assist. So to answer your question, Matt, I'm not sure. This is new territory for me.
Well, I guess I'm wondering, because this makes me think of other things where we have to come up with punishment or penalty if there's some wrongdoing here, and this seems like kind of uncharted territory where if the $200 isn't paid and they say lawyer up, I mean, what kind of court is going to see somebody for $200?
Right, right.
I think, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you, Neil.
Yeah, I think a recommendation from the board would be to turn this over to the city attorney.
Okay. Fair enough.
Another question. So the fence, besides the fact that they didn't get a permit, it's an illegal fence? It's taller than?
It doesn't comply. Yep,
Twice as high.
you are correct, yep.
Okay, so I mean,
Fences can be 4 feet in the front, Diane, and 6 feet in the rear. This one is 8 feet in the front, so it's almost double what it should be.
okay, I mean, ultimately, for the sake of the neighbors and the fact that this is what we've all agreed to as a community, shouldn't they be required to take it down?
That's why I'm asking for guidance. I mean,
I keep thinking if I intentionally build something I know is wrong and it irritates my neighbors and they complain, then I should be forced to take it down because I did something that was wrong.
Right,
And this-
Bring it into compliance.
yeah.
Yeah,
And this was based on a complaint in the neighborhood?
It was based on a complaint. And be honest with you, in 15 years that I've been here, I've been doing the permits, and I've never encountered this before, so
Is
it
my
is
unders-
new.
I understand this started back in August.
Yeah.
And
We've been trying to get it rectified for a while.
I think this becomes a legal matter.
Yep, I agree.
Do we need action or just a suggestion?
Just a suggestion, you know, and if something else comes up like this in the future, is this, do we want to send out 3 letters like we did before and then turn it over to the city attorney for?
We'll have to, yeah. Well, for now, we'll just make the suggestion that we let our attorney get involved.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Sound good to the rest of the board?
so it's not, we're not just saying pay the fines, we're saying
Get it taken care of.
fix
Fix it.
Yep.
it. Okay,
Plus, it was built without a permit to begin with.
Right.
yeah, well,
Right, yeah, those are obviously there for a reason.
Right.
And,
Okay.
yeah, is it 2 foot back from the property line even?
Right,
It
that's a
doesn't
good
have to be
question.
if it's a wood, if it's not a wood.
Right, but this is
This
wood,
is
I
a wood.
believe.
Oh,
If it's wood, it has to be set
this is a wood.
2 feet off the
Feet.
property
So
lines.
2
John's
feet.
right, yep.
So the wood has to be 2 feet. If this was plastic or whatever, metal, then it can be right on the property line or a little
You
bit
bet.
off or
chain link
whatever.
can.
Yep, but then you better have your land surveyed, because if it isn't.
Yeah,
then
but
you
the
have to
thing
move
would
it.
be to,
Right.
yeah, have it surveyed,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then the final item is discussion of possible ordinance change to add commercial kitchens as either permitted or conditional use in one of the city zones.
This is one that Neil just kind of wanted to see what you guys thought. We have a business in town that has grown its current location. They've inquired about possible additional commercial kitchen space. To date, we don't have allowances in our code for a commercial kitchen. And we'd just like input from the Planning Commission if this is something you would like us to look into with Sarah, possibly creating an ordinance allowance in one of the zones for a business of this type.
So if it's a conditional use, it has to come before us?
Yeah.
And if it's permitted, it does not have to?
Exactly.
So okay, and would the permit just be on site or on their property, just to make a commercial kitchen for what they need?
Right. Or another property, because I think that this person is actually looking for another location because there is no room on their present lot. So they may go out of town to the industrial park or another part of town where they could build a commercial kitchen.
They actually build it where they could build a commercial kitchen?
Right.
Okay.
And then it would be up to you in council if you would want it to be a permitted use in, let's say, the I-1 or the I-2 or the B-2, or if you would want to put conditions on it.
I guess my initial thought is just to have a permit, have it permitted instead of having to come back through the council.
Right.
That would be my initial thought.
Restaurants are permitted, and it would be real similar to a
Yeah.
restaurant. Yep.
And, yeah, because that could be a long time from the time it comes through us to the city council. and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
you
Yep.
would have to pass something to okay it to be a permitted thing, though, right?
There would have to be an ordinance created, yep, and then it would come to you and to city council for a read. Just like the B2, when we just had the B2 created in the truck terminals in the B2.
But this doesn't need action tonight, this is just
No,
discussion?
just kind of wanted to see how you guys felt about it.
I think the idea of permitting it probably makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably not going to see a ton of commercial kitchens other than, like you said, restaurants, but
Right,
so
right.
conditional use permits, but it would, the lag time, and if we permit it, it's just grease
Speed
the
up the
wheel.
process.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
thank you.
Do you, like, have a recommendation on where we would permit them? Or,
You know, there again, Diane, it would depend on the owner, the business owner. You know, I'm sure that they are looking at financial, probably availability, easy access. They probably have a lot of different things that they're looking at. So when that business owner came forward, I don't have a business plan yet, so.
Any other comments from the committee on anything? Laura, do you have anything you want to say? Any of you guys over there? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.